Hello, how's it going, people? Welcome to the stream. Welcome. New week, new opportunities, new chances, new works, new things we must do. But Arsenal remain the same. January 20th, or pretty much 3 weeks into January transfer window, and Arsenal still have done nothing, legitimately nothing, and it's a massive worry. It generally is a massive worry given the fact that, well, we need to do something. Ultimately, we need to do something because arguably there is a possibility we can fall out of top 4 even if we keep performing like this, if other teams keep racking up points like this. City is gonna overtake us. God knows what's gonna happen with Newcastle, with Nottingham Forest. Let's be real, they don't look like they're gonna slow down, and other teams that also are in quite decent form. So more questions than answers again, not just regarding Arsenal, but in general Arsenal's future as well. And if it kind of feels like Arsenal are in the same situation like they were in summer, they need to sell to buy, which sounds very unique and very dumb if we speak about Arsenal per se, because Arsenal never have been that type of a team, but all of a sudden they are. And it feels like also to some extent that we are kind of ignoring this transfer window in terms of signing people, so players, so we have players for ultimately for summer signings. So it's kind of weird. It's very weird at the moment because I kind of have made amends that Arsenal are not going to sign anyone big this transfer window, which seems kind of weird and kind of nuts. At the same time, I'm not going to lie, this January transfer window feels more silent than pretty much any single transfer window I have been part of as an Arsenal fan, which is a very weird thing. I shouldn't be surprised because we don't do big deals in January 99.9% of the time, and we don't sign many players. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't know, this just feels very off. Everything feels just very off, very weird, very confusing. Something is off the grid, and I can't figure out exactly what. Either it cannot be the fact that we don't have money. Let's be real. It cannot be the fact that we don't have any money. Is it either Cronkies don't want to give money to Arteta? Is that the fact that, I don't know, we are lazy, we don't want to sign anyone, we are focusing on summer? Because ultimately the links we have seen in general with Arsenal signing strikers, midfielders, defenders, and anyone you can imagine on this planet Earth as a football player, most of them have this remark, they have this one sentence pretty much at the end of the transfer rumors that says this is more of a summer signing than it's a January one. So it's a weird one at the moment, sitting here as an Arsenal fan talking about potential chances, talking about Arsenal, because it feels like Arsenal are a bit of a free fall, and we don't know when we're gonna land and if we're gonna climb out of this fall stage and out of this hole as soon when we land. And obviously signing some players would definitely help that, and we're not doing anything, and that's what's very worrying, and that's what's very astonishing to some extent, because you look around, every single team is trying to do some business. Liverpool, I guess why they are not doing business, because they're on top. Other teams are doing business. Look at Man City, they were sitting 5th, they're about to spend 200 million, and let's be real, sooner or later they're gonna catch us and overtake us. It's just inevitable at the end of the day. Don't be surprised that when we play them on February 3rd or 2nd, they're gonna be 3 points behind us, or they will be on the same points as us. So it's all up in the air, it's all confusing, it's all weird, and it's very frustrating and very painful to watch this as an Arsenal fan. It's really pissing me off knowing the times that when we used to have a solid squad, when we were fighting for titles, when we were fighting for cups and everything, and currently we are doing none of that. Most of the Arsenal fan base, and including Arsenal themselves, when I talk about this I mean Cronkies, and it feels like also Mikel Arteta, are satisfied with top 4. It's all fine and dandy when they come with PR in the media and say, yes, we want to win trophies, yes, we must win. Players also are saying that, and I trust more players than actually the manager when they say these things currently, and isn't that something unique? But ultimately, yeah, it's a weird one. It's a very, very weird one. I can't put into words what exactly to say what, but it feels like a lost phase. Like, we are in phase 5, but it feels like a very lost phase where we are in. Big up Arsenal Manic. He was here legitimately an hour before the stream. He put this in the chat. Zero pulling power for big names. Also, another way the owners won't give me any more cash because I cocked up. Now we know Edu is who is used to yeah, we used to cuss Edu, let's be real, but he wasn't responsible, manager or owners. And ultimately it comes down to that, because we were all cussing out Edu that he was riding jet skis, going to galas, was having barbecues and everything, and we were signing nobody in summers and everything. But ultimately, it feels like it's all on Arteta and Kroenke's. It is genuinely all on Arteta and Kroenke's, because with this new increased role that Arteta has been given, he has a hand in every single cookie jar Arsenal can offer and Arsenal have. And I'll talk about every single department. Arteta has increased role. He's calling all the shots in summer transfer window. There were reports that there are fights and disagreements in hierarchy about the fact that whether Merino is the right profile for Arsenal, whether Calafiori is the right guy for Arsenal, and ultimately there were those reports, and all of a sudden they stopped with words that Mikel Arteta wanted that player pretty much desperately. He was on fire for that player, and he wanted him to get into the team as quickly as possible, because he sees that player as a key role player in the team. And now when we look at this, and if we kind of rewind the film to the last year's transfers 2 years ago, it feels like most of the signings we have made have been Mikel Arteta's signings. And the worst part is most of them that he has made are just useless. He doesn't trust them because they hold bench, they get loaned out, or they just are not good enough and they get sold for like half the value we signed them for. And that is what's the worst part in all of this. And on top of that, we have very inexperienced manager at the wheel, which gives the top Gunners an excuse that's still saying that he's learning. Year 5, he's learning and everything, which you can get the point, because to be honest, we as humans learn every day of our lives, but ultimately that doesn't apply to football, because you have to win, and you have to win pretty much instantly. No club tolerates this type of incompetence of the big teams. That is the big issue. And when we look at this, Arteta has zero pulling power. He has no power to kind of sign big names. One of the biggest things is, if Arteta is this inexperienced manager as people still want to portray him after 5.5 years in charge, then at least we should be signing players that are world-class level, players that kind of can maybe mask and hide his inexperience with the stardom and with the quality they can offer to the club. Because we got told that we need to get into Champions League to sign the world-class players. We need to basically, we built Emirates, we moved from Highbury to Emirates just so we can compete with the big teams, and ultimately we are doing nothing. We have done nothing since then. It feels like partially the soul and a big part of the essence, what Arsenal was, died the day when Arsenal moved from Highbury to the Emirates. That's how it feels like. Because Highbury was the place where we won trophies. Highbury was the place where there was atmosphere. Highbury was the place where it was about the fans, where it was about the unity, about the mentality, about the accountability and everything, about the big names, about big situations, big clubs and everything. Now that we fast forward ourselves to the 2006 and we move to Emirates, it feels like the whole identity that what Arsenal was at the time when I was growing up and the time when I fell in love with Arsenal has disappeared. It's completely and utterly gone, and it's nowhere to be found. Because it's so mad, it's so weird when you look at things. You think that clubs like Arsenal have never won Champions League, for example. Like Carlo Ancelotti, right? He apparently is leaving Real Madrid at the end of the season. We're gonna talk about that in a second, right? His father-in-law, right? Father-in-law is 101 years old. He's 101 years old. And he has never seen Arsenal win Champions League. The dinosaurs could still be alive, and they still would not have witnessed Arsenal winning Champions League. Think about it like that. There's a big possibility that I will live my whole life without seeing Arsenal winning Champions League. And the way we are moving currently, it feels like it's gonna take me extra 10, 20 years that I'm gonna see Arsenal win Premier League if I'm lucky enough. The worst part is I'm still worried that in those 10, 20 years Arteta will still be here, for fuck's sake. That's the worst part in all of this. Like, look at this. Look, see? It's 2050. Phase 30. Here we go, guys. Believing, guys. Trust in the process, guys. We can do it, guys. Let's do it together, guys. Squeeze the lemons, guys, and pickpocket, guys, and everything. It's so confusing. It's so pissing me off and everything, but I guess it is what it is. That was a hella long-winded intro, I'm not gonna lie. But anyways, if you're new around here, smash thumbs up, like the thing, subscribe if you haven't, share it around, leave your thoughts down in the chat. We're definitely gonna tackle them and everything. And if you're watching the playback, leave your comments down below. Big up J-Star in the chat. Big up TK, my guy. Big up LA Rams. Yeah, they're out of Super Bowl. Kronkes are pissed off now. 100%, no money, no nothing coming in from the LA Rams, which means Arsenal will be maybe getting even less money than if it's even possible. No signings. The guy on your thumbnail is playing today and he's going nowhere. That's the biggest thing. Yeah, 80 million for Mateusz Cunha is just dumb, stupid, and it's idiocy to the highest level. Yet at the same time, when I sit here and I read these things, this is the biggest thing I'm reading most of the time. This is what I'm reading most of the time. The renewal talks for Mateusz Cunha have stalled because Wolves are not giving in. They don't want to put a release clause, so they don't want to lose player not on their terms if it push comes to shove ultimately. He could leave if a good offer comes in. Arsenal are still maintaining informal contact for his signing. Obviously it comes from Eduardo Pagan and he's not the most trustworthy one. Ben Jacobs is also a waffler and everything, but we have to roll with the flow. We see what's happening here, so we basically roll with the flow. But Mateusz Cunha, I'm not gonna lie, I would take him at Arsenal, but the way the TKA is saying it, that it's 80 million for him, there are reports claiming that he might be for quite some time. Apparently reported price is much more than 60 million, which actually kind of coincides with the fact what TKA is saying, that it's gonna be around 70, 80, not even more million. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. It's ultimately not worth it at the end of the day. 80 million for Mateusz Cunha is nowhere near being worthy of paying. Might as well then sign Osimhen, 67 million. Might as well sign 2 more players. If you are willing to basically waste 80 million on Mateusz Cunha for some weird goddamn reason, let's be real, then might as well split that and sign 2 players. 2 proper players, although for that you actually cannot get decent player for 40k in January transfer market for sure. So we are a weird club, aren't we? 75 million for Haaland backup, and this fanbase is talking about we can't bench Havertz. Look how much we paid. Dude, 75. I would take Marmoush at Arsenal at any given day over Havertz. I don't care what you say, what you do. You can put gun to my head and I would still take Marmoush over Havertz. I don't give a crap that Eintracht Frankfurt is a masters of scamming a striker out of the team for insane money, like I have done with Jovic, Silva, Ale, Colomwani, and now with Marmoush. I don't give a damn. I would still take Marmoush over Havertz any given time of the day. Yeah, that's the testing places. Exactly. And if the 80 million you are willing to pay, just pay the Gyökeres release clauses. Sign Osimhen and sign someone else. Someone who actually could provide us with some extra push over the line ultimately. Do you think the problem for Arsenal not signing players is from Arteta? Yes and no. It goes both ways. Sounds mad, but hear me out here. On the terms that it is not from Arteta, it's the fact that Kronkes don't want to give money. I could totally understand that, because it feels like we are looking at summer situation when we are selling to sign. As weird as it sounds, as dumb as it sounds, as moronic as it sounds when we talk about Arsenal, sell to sign is what we saw last summer, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's happening again. But now, I said that it's not from Arteta. Let's look at the other side. It is from Arteta, because Arteta had 800 million over the course of the last 5 years to sign adequate strikers, adequate midfielders, and adequate bench. He had the money to spend, and he decided to spend about 300 million alone to sign midfielders, other 300 alone to sign defenders slash goalkeepers, and then 150, something like that, just to sign forwards. And half of that money went to Havertz, something went to Trossard and stuff like that. He has never signed any attackers at Arsenal whatsoever besides Trossard, Jesus, and Havertz. On Marquinhos, let's be real. Ultimately, and Willian, you can count him into that equation, but ultimately he was nothing, so it is what it is at the end of the day. So ultimately, it is from Arteta, but I would say 19% of it's from Arteta, and it's mostly from his own undoings, because he has wasted money. And if you are a smart businessman, as obviously Kroenkes are, because they wouldn't be billionaires if they were not, they are looking at these investments about putting the money into Arsenal, and they can easily say to Mikel Arteta, well, we have you given the money, show us that you can do something with it. Only we have seen right now from you is not getting it over the line about 4 or 5 times in a row. Then you complain that you don't have enough squad depth, you don't have enough players, your squad is not good enough, and you are now begging me for more money. And ultimately for the team, it's 800 would be more enough if he was actually if he recruited properly, because we would win last year the league if we actually spend the money adequately. 2 years ago as well, we could have won the league if we spend the money adequately. How comes we are 5.5 years into this process, so-called process, trust the process, and all that crap, and we still don't have a proper striker up front? We still don't have a backup for Saka. We still don't have a player for Odegaard. We still don't have a proper left winger in terms of Martinelli's Trossard's position, who he has tried to replace on multiple occasions. Let's be real. It's not a coincidence that he wanted to spend 80 million for Mudryk. You don't want to drop 80 million on a player unless you are gonna start him. Let's be real. And that again means that he doesn't fully believe in Martinelli. He doesn't fully trust him. Trossard was an opportunity signing. Actually, it has worked out somewhat well, let's be real. And Trossard was an opportunity signing because he was on the out of Brighton because of the Zerbi issues with the Zerbi. Rest of the money he has spent just signing subpar midfielders. If you ask me, is Declan Rice a 105 million midfielder? No, he isn't. 60? Yes. 70? Maybe. 105? No chance in hell. Merino. Why did we sign him? Can anyone explain me what is Merino doing on the pitch? What is he doing during games? How does he help the team to create, to attack, to defend? What is he good at? Because we are now more than half a year into the season and I still haven't figured out what Merino is good at. He's still more of a question mark than anything. Then you look at our left back situation. We have spent about 160 or 170 odd million on left backs alone to end up playing a hell-end graduate who we got for free as a left back. Calafiori with ACL injury signs and you put him from a center back to left back, which you make him run more with ACL injuries, which means he's gonna get more injured. Then you sign Kivior, who you don't play when Saliba gets injured, and you play Rob Holding. Ultimately, none of them worked out, but he's your player. You should be playing him, but you don't, because you don't trust him at the end of the day. Then you sign right back in Timba, which you end up playing as a left back. You have the best left back you can have in the team in Kieran Tierney, who you'd refuse to play because he cannot invest, and all that stupid stuff you want to do consistently. And ultimately, yeah, then you have your Zinchenko's, who is actually a midfielder. We actually haven't signed a proper left back. We have players who can play left back position to a certain extent, but they are not specialists in that position. We are playing every single player at left back who is not a left back. Only left back we have in the team is Kieran Tierney. After 160 million spent, we decide to play a center back there, a midfielder there, right back there, and when it all shit hits the fan, you decide to play our best midfielder as a right back. Because you don't have a proper backup also for fucking William Saliba now, who is out for a few weeks. Who might not play against Newcastle, might not play against Man City when they play them at home. And let's be real, even if he's somewhat fit to play against Man City, Arteta will play him. He will rush him back and risk him to get even more injured. Because that game against City ultimately will be the final coffin in Arsenal season, whether you like it or not. We can get past Wolves, we can beat Zagreb, we can beat Girona away. I think that will be a hella game, tough. I don't think Zagreb also will be an easy game and everything. But City are breathing down our necks already. Yes, it's 6-point gap. 3-game swing if you want to overtake us. But it's not going to take them too long with the signings they have made, investments they have made in this January transfer window. And it's just a matter of time until they're going to catch us up and they're going to overtake us, which means we are not finishing second even in the league if we keep this up. And let's not forget, Newcastle low-key are creeping up. What's going to happen to Nottingham Forest? What's going to happen to Chelsea? Whether you like it or not, Arsenal are in a top 4 race. And if in this specific stage of the season, you would give me 10 quid and ask me to basically name you 4 teams that are going to finish in top 4 right now, I'm not going to lie, Arsenal would not be one of those teams. Because the way the team is at the moment, the way we are playing, how Arteta is managing them, the stubbornness, the narcissism of that manager, the things he is refusing to do, and the incompetence in the transfer window, ultimately at the end of the day, leads me to believe we actually might fall out of top 4 and finish 5th or 6th this season. It has all indications of it. That is the big thing here. Because look at the table. Look at this table. Look, Arsenal are second, same points as Nottingham fucking Forest. 6 points ahead of Man City. It takes 2 games and Man City are where we are. Newcastle, 6 points behind us as well. Few bad run of games for Arsenal. Newcastle are on the same points as us. What's gonna happen with Chelsea? Bournemouth are on fire as well. Don't be surprised if Arsenal towards the end part of the season are struggling and fighting for top 4 to save their lives. And we all know how Arsenal do under the pressure. We will fold like a deck of cards, and we actually might fall out of the top 4 again, and it will be like the 3rd season of Mikel Arteta when we finish 5th all over again. It could be the same case. Wouldn't surprise me. At this rate, we'll stay and win the Europa League. At this rate, Osimhen will stay. Exactly, that is the big thing. Osimhen might win actually something this season. His first name is Mikel. Yeah, that's the only reason we signed Merino. Because at the moment, if we sign Zubimendi, hypotheticals, what-if scenarios, imaginary scenarios, we sign Zubimendi in summer. It means we have whole midfield of what Real Sociedad had 4 years ago in the team. 4 years ago, Real Sociedad midfield was Odegaard, Merino, and Zubimendi. Only thing that's missing at the moment is signing Isak up top, and we have this pretty much same backbone that Sociedad had 4 years ago. And Takefusa Kubo. Pepper is a big fan. Peppermint Freedom, if you know it, he's a real one in the chat. He loves Takefusa Kubo. Sign him. We will have another Sociedad player. If you're that desperate and you have such a sniff for Sociedad players, resign from Arsenal. Go manage Real Sociedad. If you have such a necessity to have players from Basque region and you want to play with them. No Didi. By the way, no Didi. Big up Nathan. Big up my guy. Big up Harry. Big up Harry. Let's be real, because there is these news today came out that... Where is it? Yeah. Carlo Ancelotti. That was weird. Why didn't it switch? I hate bookmarks. Those are one of the worst things in the world. I'm not gonna lie. Yo, Elon, sort these goddamn bookmarks out. It really pisses me off dealing with bookmarks. I may need to start liking tweets once again, not bookmarking them. Anyways, here we go. Carlo Ancelotti apparently has decided to leave Real Madrid at the end of the season. There already are talks that Xabi Alonso at the end of the season will become Real Madrid coach. Big question for everyone who is watching live. Would you take Ancelotti at Arsenal? Right now, end of the season, sack Mikel Arteta, get Carlo Ancelotti. If he's not retiring on anything. Because he's 65, he might actually retire, who knows? Because he has achieved everything you can imagine in the world. Because let's be real, Arsenal had a chance to sign Ancelotti. When we signed Mikel Arteta, Ancelotti was a free agent as a manager. We could have signed him. We could have signed Carlo Ancelotti. We had a chance. We just decided not to. And that was on the first indications in terms of Arteta and Kroenkes that should have shown to everyone that this manager is not serious, this ownership is not serious, and there's a big possibility this club is heading nowhere. Let's be real. Because when you have a chance to sign a Carlo Ancelotti, oh, but what he did at Everton. He did a lot at Everton. He got low-end Everton in top 4, in top 6. And then he pinned it off, obviously went to Real Madrid. Carlo Ancelotti, at the time while Mikel Arteta has been at Arsenal, has managed to have 2 spells at Real Madrid. 2 spells. In those 2 spells, he has won 10 times more than Mikel Arteta has won. 10 times, meaning 15 times more than Mikel Arteta has won in 5 years. Like, seriously, would you not take Carlo Ancelotti at Arsenal if you had the chance? Let's just say you got offered Carlo Ancelotti right now on the table. Would you take Carlo Ancelotti at Arsenal? Big question for you guys. This one, I just had to talk about this. I had to talk about this. This was David Ornstein exclusive during the day. West Ham have made an offer for John Duran from Aston Villa. West Ham bid offer was worth 57 million including add-ons. And obviously he said that the bid is expected to be rejected, and now it's known by the time I'm live that that bid has been rejected. Now, I'm not laughing at West Ham. I pulled this up just to show that West Ham in this January transfer window have 10 times more ambition than the Arsenal have had in the last 5 January transfer windows. They're identifying a problem because they don't have a striker. Antonio is getting washed up. Fulkrug has a long-term injury. They have to play Bowen or Kudus at striker, which is not good enough. They have identified the issue, and they are going to fix it. They are moving like a proper club, like a proper Premier League club. Why Arsenal are not doing this? Why Arsenal are not doing this? Why we are not going for him? Why we are not going for any striker, by the way, right now? Because that is one of the main reasons why we are where we are. If Havertz is missing on consistent basis in every single game, empty net chances and chances from 2 yards out, how can you not sign a striker who can bag these chances? Edin Nketiah could score those chances. Yaya Sanogo could score those chances. Chuba Akpom, Jusung Park, pick your poison. They could score those chances. But Kai Havertz cannot. Apparently, it's a big rumor that Arsenal have made a contact for Osimhen, allegedly. We talked about this yesterday on the stream as well. But whether it's true or not, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Mark Goldbridge also yesterday tweeted that Arsenal are exploring a deal for Osimhen. Is like a Titanic looking for a warmer water after they hit iceberg. Basically, there were reports that Arsenal apparently are exploring a chance to sign Osimhen, but there is nothing concrete in it. It's not gonna happen ultimately. That's what I'm gonna tell you. But Arsenal allegedly are exploring the options, but that is typical Arsenal. We are exploring all the players in the world, all the options in the world to end up with signing nobody. Let's just put it that way. There were those rumors, but they got shut down quite quickly, I'm not gonna lie. Even Napoli fans under yesterday's stream were saying that I'm lying about Osimhen. I am not. I was just talking about what I was seeing in the media. I wasn't lying. But ultimately, even Napoli fans are thinking that we are not signing him. Even Napoli fans. But yeah, some good news for Arsenal. Hopefully. Barcelona, apparently, according to Sport, that is a Barca football, El Mayor. So take this with some grain of salt because it focuses on Barcelona. But Barcelona apparently have reached an agreement with Marcus Rashford to sign him on loan until the end of the season. Only issue is they just need to free up the wage bill. And we all know how Barcelona are in big issues with opening wage bills because they're overpaying every single player in the world they have in the team. Because if you think we are overpaying players, quite a few of them, they are overpaying players. Because they had players like Samuel Umtiti some time ago on about 300 bags a week. De Jong is earning like $1 million a week, what it feels like. I think he's about 780 million, $750,000 he's earning a week. It's actually kind of nuts the wages they have put some of their players on. It is actually nuts. And then they are struggling with this situation when they need to register and sign some players, and they just cannot because the wages just don't allow them to. I will back Arteta to till the end because he's doing well with Arsenal currently. He just needs a good striker. I respect that. I'm done with Arteta. I've been for the longest time and I want him out. He's not good enough. He cannot get us over the line. He hasn't done it already like 4 times in a row. And there is proof in the pudding that he's never going to do it ultimately for me. For me also the biggest question is, if we sign even a striker, can he manage him? Can he coach him? Because he has never had a striker to coach ever. Not even as assistant manager, not as the main manager. He hasn't had a chance to coach a striker. So that is also a big thing we have to consider. He likes to have players that play in multiple positions, which ultimately leads to the fact that, well, there are more. Let's just put it that way. If you put on a scale these things, basically everything is weighing quite heavily to the side that Arteta is not the man and he should be going and he cannot do the job. Let's just put it that way. Big up Arsenal Manning. Big up my guy. Big up, big up, big up. By the way, half an hour ago the game started. What's the score? What's the score between Wolves? Chelsea Wolves 1-0. Como are beating Udinese. Villarreal are beating. Who scored for Villarreal? Who scored? Alex Baena scored for Villarreal. Shocker. Why Arsenal cannot sign Alex Baena? Why Arsenal cannot sign Alex Baena from Villarreal? Can someone explain me this? Why Arsenal cannot sign him? That is for me a big question. Oh, Tosin scored from Reece James. Though Reece James playing, might be careful. If he gets injured, that might be the curtains for him. But yeah, the big question, why we haven't signed Alex Baena? 3-0 Villarreal as we are live here. Holy crap, Villarreal are running all over Mallorca. Is it Alex Baena again? Dani Parejo scored. He's like 50. He still is bagging goals. That's kind of mad. Anyways, whoa, that was a misclick and a half. According to rumors, although Arsenal have no immediate need for a center back, Palmeiras Vitor Reis, 19 years old, has been identified as a player with huge potential, allegedly. Like the signing of William Saliba in the summer of 2019, a move for Reis was seen by some at Arsenal as a way of future-proofing the center of defense. Why we are signing all these defenders? Why? I get it that we need to prove the defense, but don't we have like Nichols and all them guys in the youth academy who are also playing, who we took to pre-season to play for Arsenal? Why do we need to sign all of these guys when we have a proper youth academy allegedly in place that actually develops some proper young talents? Why? I get it that you need to build for the future, but the more we sign these players for positions that already we have our own players for, the more we ruin their development and growth and chance to get into the first team. I get that, for example, if he was a striker, if he was a winger, I totally understand it then. Maybe I understand even a midfielder. But a defender, unless he's a left back or a right back, I don't see the point in this. I genuinely don't see the point in this. Like, serious talk. Significant work had gone for the bells of Reis for Reis and Arsenal. I generally believe this Brazilian signing could actually be some indications of Edu's last things, what Edu has kind of was trying to do, by the way. Yeah, big up Arsenal Manic. If you already haven't, like and subscribe. Big up my guy. Will we beat Zagreb? Oh, yo. This is one of those questions I'm gonna answer tomorrow because we will have a preview for this game tomorrow. We will have a Zagreb preview for tomorrow, 100%. Don't worry about this. But this game, I kind of don't know what to expect, and that's what's worrying. Because I know what to expect more or less from Arsenal in Premier League. In Champions League, I have no idea what to expect. Because watching the Zagreb play against Bayern Munich, how the game basically turned out, we could lose if it's the same scenario. Because actually Bayern Munich had proper attacking power. They were 3-0, it was 3-2. They almost scored to make it 3-3. Then they kind of capitulated, right? Arsenal barely scraped past Donetsk Shakhtar. Let's be real, we could have lost the game and everything as well. And the game against the Shakhtar as well, very lucky goal. Martinelli hits the post, hits goalkeeper on the back, it trickles over the line. Besides that, if we don't score that goal, we pretty much have drawn that game as well. So again, it's a very rough one. It really is a rough one. First off, it seems like the owner is not keen to give Arteta any more money to spend. Secondly, as you alluded to earlier, most of his signings have been flops, and that is the case, yeah. That's how I see these things. I think it was a week ago or 6 days ago we had this stream where we looked at 30 signings Mikel Arteta has made. Right? Can I find this? Will I find this actually? Will it find it this way? Arteta 30 signings. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. 30 signings of Mikel Arteta. 5 goalkeepers, 11 defenders, 8 midfielders, and 6 attackers. That is actually kind of wild if you come to think of it. That is actually kind of wild if you come to think of it. And to be honest, I'm not surprised that Cronkies are not giving him money. Because summer was very weird that we had to sell to buy. And everything. Because that's how it looked like at least. And it was very rough window. Now again, we are not signing anyone. We are not selling anyone. So it's a bit of a weird one. Exactly, he's made 30 signings. How many of them have turned out to be world class? Like, honestly, nobody. As of yet, we don't have no world class players. We have players that are very close to being world class, right? But ultimately, we don't have the player that is basically you can openly, without basically discussions, call world class. At least in my opinion. Because the term world class is very vague these days. Very vague these days. Because it basically depends on every football fan's perception of what you call person world class. Because you can have it all, but for me, if you want to be called world class, you need to have trophies by your name. And none of our players have the trophies by their names to be being called world class, ultimately, for me. But look, yeah, 30 signings. Isn't that nuts if you think about it? This is where nearly 800 million of Mikel Arteta's expenditure has gone to. Look at this. We have signed 5 goalkeepers, 4 right backs, 4 center backs, and 3 left backs. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying none as well, by the way. But look, Matt Ryan, Ranasson, what arguably the worst goalkeeper I have seen in Arsenal shirt, and that includes goalkeepers like Manone, like Almunia and players like that. That includes even those in that category. Matt Turner, the less than spoken the better. And Ramsdale, okay, somewhat decent but nothing unique. And now David Raya. And this all, he has signed 5 goalkeepers. There is no Neto, by the way, who's on loan at the moment, and everything. And I kind of think that Arteta is kind of still doubting himself when he makes some of these signings. Because I kind of get this feeling that Arteta still has PTSD from selling Emi Martinez. Like, remember when we basically 22-23 season, we lost the league from being 8 points clear when we were playing free-flowing attacking football. And I think Arteta got PTSD then, and last season, this season, we are playing more defensive style, much more defensive style. And I think he went from one end of the spectrum to the other. And I kind of think Arteta still a bit hasn't forgiven himself for selling Emi Martinez. I kind of get that feeling at times. Because there's no reason for him to sign 5 different goalkeepers where 3 of them are championship level goalkeepers at best. That is also you have to remind. Ramsdale as well is a 50-50 one, by the way. To some extent. But if you think about this as well, we signed Aaron Ramsdale in the same summer we wanted to sign David Raya. Only reason we didn't sign David Raya is because Brentford didn't want to let him go. They were fighting for promotion and everything. They had big hopes for that season and they actually got the promotion and everything, right? But ultimately, we didn't sign Raya because they said no to us. And we signed Ramsdale. Next best thing, arguably, right? Then 2 years later, Raya becomes available. Arteta can get his shiny new toy he wanted from 2 years ago, and Ramsdale gets pretty much exiled from the team. That was fun for him. Kind of feel sorry for Ramsdale in that regard. But kind of the fact what he said in interviews when he was sitting on the bench, him watching pigeons and saying he cannot focus for full 90 kind of was his own undoing as well. Look at right backs. White, Timber, Tomiyasu, Suarez. Why did we sign Suarez? Anyone can explain me that? Tomiyasu. On paper, great signing. In reality, he needs to go in summer. The injuries, the consistent injuries, constant injuries every single time, that is actually kind of nuts. That is the big thing. Why do we need so many keepers, easy signings, cheap? That is, as well, that is the thing. Because, wait. If we think about this, like realistically, most of the time when Mikel Arteta has been here, we usually have had one main goalkeeper, another one has been like very bad or on loan. Think about it. We had Ramsdale, Cunha was a backup. We had Ramsdale, Runnison was a backup. Matt Ryan was a backup. And all of them were backups. Leno was here as well, he got rid of him and everything. Then, now Raya is in, and Neto is a backup. We don't have two capable goalkeepers in the team. We have one very insane one, well, comparatively, right, to the other. Another one is just to fill in the spot, ultimately. And I think the sole purpose for that is as well so the young goalkeepers can basically get their game time in under 21 team. And if you look at Arsenal's under 21 team, we have 5 goalkeepers in that team. We have 5 goalkeepers in Arsenal's under 21 team. You have that Rojas. We have Porter. We have Setford. We have Okonkwo. And we have another one. We have 5 goalkeepers in Arsenal's under 21 team. And let's not forget we still have Karl Hein, the Estonian goalkeeper, who's out on loan at Real Valladolid at the moment. Let's not forget that as well. We have loads of them. But ultimately, none of them have been excellent. If you look at right back position, White and Timber, I can give him that. But I kind of get the feeling still that the Ben White wasn't destined to be a right back as well. I don't think White was destined to be a right back. Because Saliba, when he came back from second loan spell, he had a fantastic preseason. And I think it kind of coincided with the summer when we signed also... no, it was the year after we signed Ben White. We signed Ben White, 1 year later Saliba had a fantastic preseason. And he had to make an option to either put Ben White as a right back and play Saliba, or keep Ben White as a center back and loan out Saliba again. And he basically, based on the preseason we had, he was forced to play Saliba because, again, Arsenal's fan base was in a disarray about the fact how good Saliba looked, and he wasn't getting a kick of the ball in Premier League. Same what happened this year with Ranieri, and ultimately at some point he gave into the pressure and played him when Saka was out. Yet he didn't play him when Odegaard was out. Let's not forget that. So I think he kind of got lucky there, but some luck is needed when you are a manager. Let's not forget that. So I would say Ben White and Timber have been great signings. And I totally agree with this. Timber is going down real soon. We could be looking at a situation for when Ben White comes back, Timber breaks down instantly, quite soon, because he's being so overplayed without any substitutions, it's actually insane. It is actually embarrassing to some extent. How comes we didn't sign another right back or didn't use someone from Youth Academy when we know that Ben White for half a year is in a necessity for a surgery, and we don't have anyone, and we don't take Ben White off when games have been decided at some points? It is actually quite worrying, to say the least. Look at center backs. Gabriel, Kivior, Marie, Trusty. Only good signing from that is Gabriel. I will give Mikel Arteta and Edu here their flowers. Signing Gabriel, arguably top 3 player signing, player decision they have done as being ahead of Arsenal. I can give them their flowers for that, 100%. Big up Arsenal, man. Go. Big up my guy. Do your thing. Have a nice evening. Enjoy your time. That is for me as well. Left backs. Calafiori, Nuno Tavares, Zinchenko. Calafiori, injured, ultimately useless. He's a center back, not a left back. Zinchenko, again, we outgrew him in a half a season, and he's more of a midfielder than a left back. And let's not forget, we have Nuno Tavares. Remember that FA Cup game against Nottingham Forest when he got hooked off at the 30th, 34th, something those minutes, and he never got a kick in Arsenal's team again? Then he got some loans to Marseille, then to Nottingham Forest. Now he's at Lazio and being one of the Lazio's best players. Lazio's president is saying that he cannot wait to sign him full time. Worst part is, we have obligation to buy. But it's only for about 11 million or something like that. It's nearly the same amount of value we bought him for. But the way he's assisting in that league and the way he's playing left back for Lazio and in Serie A at the moment, his value when he fully signs will have gone from about 10-15 million to about 30-40 million. That's how good he's looking at Serie A currently. That's how annoying it is. I generally believe so as well. Calafiori meant to be Gabriel Beckham. Fully agree. But then again the question, what was the point in signing Kivior then? Because Kivior technically is a left-sided center back and we are forcing him to play left back as well, similarly like Calafiori. What was the point then in wasting money on Kivior? Make it make sense. Now, midfield. Thomas Partey, Sambi Lokonga and Jorginho. Jorginho, 10 million. Kinda cannot go wrong with that. I'm gonna give him somewhat a free pass. I shouldn't, but I will. Sambi Lokonga. The Belgian Yaya Toure, as it got told us by... Who was it? Company? Or was... Yeah, I think it was Company, right? Look at him now. He's now at Sevilla with option to buy. And we are praying that he has a good season at Sevilla and Sevilla buy him. Like, seriously. What he did do at Arsenal? Nothing. What he did at Crystal Palace? Nothing. Well, although when Vieira was the manager at Crystal Palace, actually was somewhat decent, I'm not gonna lie. New manager came in, he got totally shoved out of the team. What he did at Luton Town? Well, pretty much nothing. Moving on to 8s. Rice, Merino, and Dani Ceballos. Rice, Merino, and Dani Ceballos. Yeah. Lokonga barely played the game because he was very young. He got thrown in deep end. And as good as he was at certain games, he was also like a headless chicken in some other games, in specifically the bigger games. Similarly like Nuno Tavares, because there were games when he was fantastic as a left back. But as soon as we had to play Liverpools and teams like that when he started, he as well looked like a headless chicken. And I think that was the final nail in the coffin. And in the way he looked against Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup, I think totally put a cross over the thing. He needed to adapt. He probably needed a loan again to a smaller Premier League side that probably is battling relegation, or championship side, top end championship side that is fighting for promotion, so he can get a proper game time, he can adjust to the physicality, the pace of the league and everything. But just didn't. Ultimately, he just didn't. That is the big thing. He just didn't. Lokonga came, I think, one season too late to Arsenal. If he came one season earlier, I think it could have been a different story. But he came one season too late because he had not enough time to adapt and adjust, because basically it was year and a half and we instantly were fighting for top 4 and instantly fighting for league in the 22-23 season. He genuinely didn't have any time. And in the Arsenal, just basically at that stage, we already were at a point where we outgrew Zinchenko in half a year. In that 22-23 season, and it generally looked like either you sink or you swim. And if you sink, you are out of the club. That is the big thing. Yeah, he can do a better job than Merino. And I'm not gonna lie, if we look at our left 8s, Rice, Merino, and Ceballos, those 3 players alone cost us 145 million. 145 million. And you have to exclude Ceballos from that equation. We bought 105 for Rice and 40 for Merino almost. 145 million. I know Rice is a 6, But for per se of this the layout, he's here as an 8. And Arsenal play him as an 8, despite the fact that he is a 6, and that's also pissing me off, I'm not gonna lie. Arteta has forced him to play a completely different role, which he is not accustomed to, which he actually should not be playing. He should be playing similar role like he was playing at West Ham under David Moyes. In the last season, David Moyes with Rice as a 6 won Conference League. What is a Conference League? Who cares about Conference League? West Ham have more wins in Europe than Arsenal has. West Ham have a European trophy. Arsenal don't. Think about it that way. Yeah, exactly. Rice is a 6, and Arteta wants Rice to be a Lampard. But he's never gonna be that. I don't think he's gonna be that. As much as I hate to say this, but Rice doesn't have that unique X-factor quality that Lampard had. I don't see it. I can see him as a 6. I don't see him as an 8. I don't see him being good enough to be an 8. Because when he plays for Arsenal as an 8, he feels already kind of winded after 30-35 minutes because he has to bomb up, down, and field. And against Aston Villa, he actually was almost man of the match for me because he had to cover up the shit that Odegaard put out. And then he had to cover Merino as well. He had to cover them both at the same time. Plus, he had to cover his own position. He was doing triple man job. But yeah, if you look at those three, right? Rice, Merino, and Ceballos. Merino, waste of money. Half a year gone, already waste of money. I'm not afraid to say this. You can clip this up, you can whatever, but he's a waste of money. And Ceballos. Ceballos yesterday for Real Madrid was phenomenal against Las Palmas. Ceballos, since leaving Arsenal, has won, 9, 10 trophies at Real Madrid, although trophies at Real Madrid are almost a guarantee. But he actually is a proper player if you give him the chance and you play him a proper style. I actually wouldn't be against to play Dani Ceballos instead of Merino in this midfield. I kid you not. I know it sounds weird, it sounds a hot take, it sounds very... Well, for some fans maybe deluded because, well... Let's be real, some fans are that way. But for me, I would much rather see Dani Ceballos in our midfield than Mikel Merino. It sounds hella weird when I'm saying it myself, but ultimately I would. I would see Fabian Ruiz in that number 8 spot instead of Merino. I much rather see Alex Baena in that 8 spot instead of Merino. I'd rather see Odegaard in that 8 spot instead of Merino. Because for me, Odegaard is more of an 8 than a 10. Ultimately at the end of the day. But hey, it is what it is. Look at number 10s. Odegaard and Vieira. Vieira, again, another waste of money. 35 million down the drain. Odegaard, as much as I don't like him at the moment, quite heavily, I'm not gonna lie, in the last half a year, I just completely have changed my thoughts on him. I don't think he's actually the one we need as a number 10. He's not good enough. He disappears in big games. He's too weak. He since the ankle injury is backing out of tackles. He's scared to shoot the ball. He has no power behind his shot. He cannot create. He cannot do anything. This season for Arsenal, he has 3 goals or 2 goals. One of them was a penalty and 3 assists. Oh, but he was out for some time. Keep the same energy when you said when Odegaard was injured. When Odegaard comes back, he's the creative spark. He's gonna be the one who's gonna bring us back to another proper football and a proper attack. Now the same people are saying, oh, but you cannot name his stats. He was out for some time. Keep moving your goalposts. At some point, they're gonna break. But yeah, Odegaard, arguably, as much as he feels weird, and I wouldn't give him the captaincy, for me, Gabriel is the captain. I will say Odegaard has not been the waste of money for 2 reasons. First of all, you could make an argument he's one of the reasons why we are where we are currently, although he's also one of the big reasons why we cannot get it over the line. That is basically a big counter argument to everything I just said. And the other thing is, we signed him for 30 odd million, and his value currently in the market, most likely, I would say, is about 60 million, 70 million maybe even. So in investment wise, it has paid off. Let's just put it that way. Failed wonder kid, that's what Odegaard is at the end of the day. Odegaard's a cheerleader, you know, Saka is more important. Yeah, that is the case. When Odegaard was injured, Saka actually carried the team. he managed to get points on the board and he managed to carry through this patch when Odegaard wasn't there. Now that Saka is injured and Odegaard is back, Odegaard is pretty much might as well not have come back. Because when Odegaard was here and we had Wanjiri playing right wing, Wanjiri was doing 10 times more than Odegaard has done in all the games. And Wanjiri has been out for what? Nearly a month? Like, make it make sense. Odegaard is not it. He genuinely is not it. If I had a chance, I would cash out on him and go and try and sign Musiala or Wirtz or someone like that. Now, left wing, Trossard and Sterling. Oh, fucking hell. The fact that I'm even seeing Trossard and Sterling on that left wing, it's actually kind of nuts. I don't see Martinelli in this, by the way. Oh, but he's not Arteta signing. Never mind. Martinelli is not Arteta signing, just like Saliba. Trossard and Sterling. Why did we sign Shillings? Sterling 100% is Arteta signing. He said, oh, I had a 10-minute talk with him and I instantly realized he's the guy I want. It's on Arteta at the end of the day. Trossard, good opportunity. I would say for as much as Mikel Arteta bangs about, oh, we are looking in market, waiting for opportunities, we are all the time and everything, and every single market there are about billion opportunities and Arteta takes none of them, by the way. And there are cut price deals for many of those players. I would say that Leandro Trossard, given the opportunity, the fact that we couldn't get Mudryk and everything, he actually has been a hit. He actually has been a hit from Mikel Arteta from all the 30 signings he has made. I'm not gonna lie. Because he was one of those players who kept the momentum going, kept carrying us last season, 2 seasons ago and everything. And he arguably is one of the most clinical finishers in the team. But yeah, I think he has been somewhat also mistreated by Mikel Arteta, because there have been games when he gets 2-3 points, puts in a man of the match performance, and then for the next 5 games he's benched by Mikel Arteta and he doesn't get even subbed on. We saw that 2 years ago as well. So it's a weird one, but I would say that he's a very good squad player. I don't think Trossard is your main attacking option on the left wing or right wing or number 9. None of those places. But as an impact sub off the bench, he's sublime. He's perfect in that regard. He just plays perfectly in those instances. Trossard's a good squad player. Exactly. He's an impact player. Odegaard needs someone to hold his hand, and he had Saka to hold his hand. Only guy. And now that Saka isn't there, he's going into the hiding even more than he did before. Because whenever we needed him the most, he has disappeared the most. How comes when we need our captain to put the team together when the going gets rough, he is the first one that goes into hiding? Yeah, panic signings, in a way. What about Rice and Party? Right wing, Willian and Marquinhos. The Joga Finito brothers. The less said than better. Let's just put it that way. The less said than better. However, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, Marquinhos won Copa Libertadores last season, or the Brazilian league, one of the two. That's how mad it is. Yeah, Recopa Sudamericana winner. See, with Fluminense, he won Copa Sudamericana in 23-24 season when he was on loan there. Imagine Marquinhos has been on loan and he has won the same amount of trophies as Mikel Arteta. That's how mad it is. That's how mad it is. Rice and Party hold Odegaard. Yeah, they fully do, because Odegaard is nothing without the players around him. And that should not be the case. If you are the captain of the team, if you're one of your main guys in the team, you should be able to carry your own weight, and you should be able to be a guy who a team can rely upon to basically do what Alexis Sanchez did, to what Aubameyang did, Robin van Persie did, to basically create something out of nothing on your own. And Bukayo Saka can't do that. Yes, Bukayo Saka has very annoying games. I'm not gonna lie. It's sometimes very frustrating to watch. I think it's not alone just the fact that he has maybe had some small injuries or something like that. I think also it's due to Mikel Arteta's system that basically has stalled his development in the attack. He is not allowed to do certain things, which he did maybe when Arteta just came in and he was just trying to figure things out because we don't see them as much. But one thing you can rely on Bukayo Saka for, more or less every single game get GA, no matter what the performances are. Because he can have a ghost of a performance, but he pops up out of nowhere at random time and he gets a goal. He gets an assist. And most of the time, that goal or the assist comes arguably at one of the most crucial times for Arsenal during the game. Whether you need to draw a game, whether you need to win a game, he turns up when you need him the most. And he is the only one in the team. However, he cannot do this alone. He needs backup. He needs other players because, let's be real, Martinelli and Bukayo Saka started at Arsenal more or less at the same time. How comes Bukayo Saka's development has gone only upwards and Martinelli has gone upwards and just nosedived into the ground with no indication of coming back up anymore? Saka turns up with an assist or a goal every game that we are... Exactly. When going gets tough, the cream rises on top. And Bukayo Saka is the cream that rises on top. He creates for us. He raises the ceiling for us. He produces that moment of magic when we need it the most. And Odegaard is, on the other hand, the other way around. When going gets tough, he disappears. But when the team is genuinely flying, it's on fire, it's purring like a kitten, Odegaard is phenomenal. But as soon as the team starts to struggle, Odegaard disappears. Bukayo Saka is the complete opposite. When the team is flying, Bukayo Saka as well can be invisible. He has those games. But despite everything, he still manages to produce stats on the board to actually get Arsenal over the line with matters the most. And that's why I think Bukayo Saka and Saliba, both of them are arguably the closest ones that we have to world-class level in the team. Only two players. Well, Gabriel as well. I would say Gabriel as well to some extent. But they need trophies as well for me to their name, to actually try and think about it. But for me, Saka, Saliba, and Gabriel are the ones that are the closest ones too. Martinelli is following instructions from Arteta. I know Martinelli can be a good player or be better. We have seen Martinelli be better. That is the sad and annoying part in all of this. The 22-23 season, when we were playing arguably the best football in Europe, as many were saying, the free-flowing attacking football, Martinelli was fantastic. He was rinsing fullbacks inside out. Every time we were watching the games when Martinelli got the ball, you got that sense of excitement because you knew that more often than not he's gonna take him on and he's gonna be successful at it. Same goes for Bukayo Saka and everything. But now, since Arteta got that PTSD from losing the league with that type of football, and since he has gone to Jose Mourinho type of football, which he cannot do because he doesn't know how, Martinelli has generally, from basically top of the mountain almost, has nosedived into the ground. And that is a sad thing to see. And then it feels like he has lost like half yard of his yard of pace as well. Sometimes when you watch him play and everything, it's very frustrating because we know he can be better. And I will stand by this situation and I'm gonna die on this hill. But this Arsenal team, I don't care how you look at it, whether we are good enough or not or whatever. This Arsenal team is meant to be attacking. It's meant for the attack. It's not meant to park the bus, control the game, see out the situations, pass, control the ball, camp on edge of opponent's box and do all this stuff. This team is built to be attacking and going forwards. Because what was the point in spending 300 million on defense alone pretty much if you just sit back and defend and then you extra force your attackers to defend? Bukayo Saka has said this in interviews. Arteta wants his attackers to defend first. So what was the point in signing 300 million worth of defenders if you are still asking your attackers to back them up? What was the point? Like, and we haven't spent almost no money in our attack alone. How much money we have spent on our attack? Trossard, 20 something million. Jesus, 45. Marquinhos, 3, should have been for free. And that's about it. I'm not counting Havertz in this solely because Arteta said himself in an interview when we signed Havertz, we have signed him for midfield. And when that didn't work, shit hit the fan and he basically, as they say, throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. And that stuck basically. But yeah, we haven't signed attackers. We have had the same attack for 2 years now. And it's no wonder that we have been figured out. There is no excitement in their attack. There is no development, no new moves, no new runs, no nothing. Because there's nobody to make those runs from. No player can do those runs because we have the same players. You can't do anything new. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. You need new dog at the end of the day. I'm not talking about the win. Shut the fuck up. I don't need another dog at Arsenal. It's just a metaphor. But we need someone new at the attack. Pino and Alex Baena are cooking. Why don't... Exactly. I would love to see Alex Baena at Arsenal. For me, arguably, he could be the closest thing what Arsenal could see the reincarnation of Santi Cazorla. He could be the closest thing. The way he plays for Villarreal, phenomenal. Would love that. He can whip it across. He can do amazingly from corners. He has great pass on him, great shot. He sees the game developing and everything. Good footballing IQ. He is genuinely like another Santi Cazorla type of player. And we need that. We don't have that in the team. Imagine if in this Arsenal team, if we would have Santi Cazorla as a number 8. We would destroy teams with the passing the way we could have played. But ultimately, no matter how we look at this, right? It doesn't matter what we sign or who we sign. Because I still believe that under this manager, it doesn't matter who we sign because none of them will succeed. After 5 years, for me, I have seen enough to say that he's not the guy to get us over the line, and he's not gonna be the guy to raise certain players' levels 2, 3, 4 levels higher to elevate the team, elevate the player, his confidence, and his abilities to help us get it over the line. That, for me, ultimately is the big thing. For me, that is the big thing, unfortunately. As much as I hate it, it pains me. It sounds weird, but it pains me to say this as an Arsenal fan. But it's just not it. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's just not it. Every team are not scared. Exactly. They are not scared. They know how to stop our attack, how to camp on edge of the box and nullify every gap and everything, and they just have to kill us on counter because we commit so many players forward that, I don't know. Defense wins you championships, they say, but we cannot even defend. So what's the point? You know you're gonna concede anyways. Might as well go on the attack and then try and exploit the gaps in defense and play free-flowing attack like you used to. Might as well. I love this. Mikel Arteta says, I like to be challenged. That is such a bullcrap statement. If you were like to being challenged, you actually would, for a change, sign players with egos, with personalities. You would have personalities in your team. You wouldn't have yes men in your team who only agrees with you. Because ultimately, it's what my grandfather used to say. If you look and you think you are the smartest guy in the room, you probably are the dumbest person in reality in the room. And if you want to grow and want to be challenged, there is no point to be surrounded with people that only agree with you. You need people who disagree with you, give you different views, different opinions, and different outlooks on certain situations. And the way Arsenal looks at the moment, we have none of that. We have only yes men in that regard. Genuinely only yes men. Yeah. Dinamo Zagreb have a new manager, by the way. And it is Fabio Cannavaro. His first game as the Zagreb boss is going to be against Arsenal. That's how wild it is. Will it be the new manager bounce? Will it be the new manager bounce? That is the big question. Against Arsenal, knowing that we are many times Santa Claus FC, oh boy am I scared to some extent. Oh bloody hell am I scared. In some brighter side of news, and these actually are some actually good news, Ben White, Tomiyasu, and Calafiori and Vannieri are believed to be nearing returns in the next few weeks. They are all expected to be back by the end of the January or early February. That is added to this. It's not written there, but I read about that. And Bukayo Saka obviously is still a long term. He's likely to be out until March. I expect until April at least. Why rush them? Why rush them? Well, Vannieri has been basically said that he's gonna be back late January, early February for some time now, so I kind of believe in that. Tomiyasu has never been back, so I don't know if it's rushed or what it is. Ben White was expected to be back mid-February or something like that after the surgery and everything, although you know that Mikel Arteta is gonna rush them back because he has done it before. He did that with Jesus. Let's not forget that. He did that with Jesus. That's why Jesus has needed 3 surgeries on his knees and everything. And he has rushed back. He has forced Odegaard to play with screwed up ankle, Declan Rice with broken toe, Ben White with necessity of a 6-month surgery, Bukayo Saka with a hamstring and ankle injuries. He has rushed them back and made them play through injuries. So it wouldn't surprise me if it would happen again and again and again. Would not surprise me. And it won't surprise me if Saliba is not fully recovered. He's going to force him back against, for example, against Newcastle or against Man City as well. It would not surprise me because I have seen this before. I've seen this film before. That is the sad part in this. That's what's pissing me off the most. And this is something weird. I don't know why we are doing this, but Arsenal will be doing an interactive light show before facing Dinamo Zagreb in the Champions League at the Emirates on Wednesday. Supporters can use the club's app and their phone torch to take part. Ooh. All about the PR and hype to look extra zesty, isn't it? All about the hype and PR at the end of the day, isn't it? As wild as it sounds, all about the hype and PR. I don't know why we do these weird things. I guess people like them. I guess they want to be more... They want to get basically fans more involved. I get that. I totally get that. Because when I watch Italian league, Brazilian league as well, obviously. When I watch German league and everything, the fans compared to English fans is genuinely night and day. The way the stadiums are bouncing in Germany, the way they scream, the way they support, it's a complete different dynamic, complete different story. And I get why Arteta wants to try and bring this into Emirates, because Emirates genuinely, if you have chance when you watch, for example, on TV, and you have ability just to tune out the commentators and just have the sound of the stadium that gets picked up on mics, you can genuinely see that Emirates is pretty much a graveyard. I kid you not. And that's why he's trying to do this. And that's, like, I get it that it's on fans, but ultimately at the end of the day as well, the club should be giving something to fans to cheer about. How long we can cheer for this mediocrity, for these subpar performances, balling 2-0 leads at home, having Havertz missing empty net chances on consistent basis, playing half-injured players. How can I cheer when I see, for example, Calafiori come out on the pitch, Kivior come out on the pitch, Merino come out on the pitch, Havertz come out as leading the line? How can I cheer for that? How? If I have seen the Invincibles, if I have seen other Arsenal teams when we had proper players and when I saw them coming on the pitch, I actually got some chills and shivers. Now only Odegaard gets chills and shivers when he listens to North London Forever at the end of the day. Like, make it make sense. Generally, make it make sense. But I guess it is what it is at the end of the day. But yeah, at the end of the day, everything that's happening at the Emirates with the North London Forever, with the pyro shows, with the name calling as they're trying to force, it's very, very forced on the audience. And as much as I get it, at the same time, it's not for everyone. Different cultures, different systems, different everything. Different mentalities for the sport. Because, for example, when I go to football games, I scream because I'm a sports fan, and if it's my team playing, I'm gonna scream and support them, and I'm gonna cuss out the ref and everything. Because I was at one of the hockey games on the youth level. I was watching, right? It was before the big game, right? And I got nearly thrown out of the arena because I was cussing out the ref. I was cussing out the ref for the fact that the opponent's player was diving. Our player got 2 minutes. We conceded from that. And at the end of the game, there were some reviews from the referees, and it was a dive. But for that, I was cussing him out and nearly got thrown out of the arena as well. As mad as it sounds. But yeah, it's different cultures. You cannot imagine, for example, like Emirates sounding like Signal Iduna Park. You just cannot imagine that. You cannot imagine Emirates sounding like San Siro, for example, or places like that. You just cannot, because the culture is not there. And Arsenal have more tourists than actual fans in the stadiums these days. And that's never going to work to that regard. The stupid thing is North London forever. Two teams in North London. Each of them literally live next to each other, the stadiums. Literally. It's like when, like, based on that song, right? When Arsenal plays Spurs, right? The game finishes 3-2, for example. The game shouldn't finish 3-2. The game finishes just 5. 5 goals got scored. Game finishes just 5. Because it's the same place, same everything. North London forever. Imagine Son and Saka holding hands and everything. Ring around the rosy during the game and everything. It's mad. It's weird and everything. Like, I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it. I don't know. Maybe I'm a different age group from the fan base and everything, but for me it feels very forced. Although when I watch Bundesliga, I really enjoy the atmosphere I get when I watch Bundesliga. When I watch Premier League, not so much. Although when you watch the smaller teams play, for example, the ones that have just come up from Championship and teams like that, they actually appreciate the Premier League football. They actually support their team. When you go to the big clubs games, it feels very deflated. It feels very, I don't know, empty, shallow, hollow, all of that. I don't know, it's very weird. I guess it depends on who you are. But for me, it feels very bad. It feels very forced and very unnatural, if that makes any sense. But anyways, guys, I think on that note, I'm gonna end today's stream. Tomorrow, I'll be back with Dinamo Zagreb Champions League preview. Maybe Arsenal will have signed a player by then. Unlikely, but hey-ho. Dare to dream, I guess, as long as it's not Rashford or Willian or players like that. Maybe we cannot cancel Sterling's loan. Only way we can loan in a player for Premier League is that if we cancel Neto's loan, or we make actually Neto's loan permanent. So I don't think we can even loan in Rashford, because of the Premier League rules, 2 players on Premier League sides. So actually that's kind of favoring us as Arsenal fans, that rule, but it is what it is. Time will tell. Maybe we will sign someone, maybe not. Only time will tell. But I don't have any hopes on us signing anyone, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, for today, I am out. Big up, yeah. Keep doing until they hear your voice. Exactly. Never give up. Big up everyone. Big up G-Star. Big up Chad. Big up Nathan. Big up Arsenal Manic. Big up Harry, TKA, everyone who dropped by. Take care. Stay safe. Like, comment, subscribe. See you all tomorrow. Take care.